All right, welcome back to Channel Sport this morning, which is the action from the German Bundesliga between Augsburg and Borussia Dortmund ended 1-1. Toby Olubi is in the studio now to talk to us and just give us his opinions about what's going on in the world of sports. Toby, good morning. Thanks for coming on the show.
Good morning. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you about the expectations of Usain Bolt on the football pitch, right? I know you want to say something about it. Well, let me let you say something about that. Well, what do you expect from Usain Bolt on a football pitch as a football coach and seeing, all his attributes physically?
Yeah.
What do you expect from him on the pitch?
He's always wanted to play football. He has not hidden that love and the passion for the sport. Ever since he stopped running. So I'm glad for him. He can finally show the world what he can do. But albeit it's a charity game, I think it's a good way to start.
Right.
But if he'll be able to get a professional deal with any club, I sincerely doubt it. Maybe in one of the clubs in Jamaica could consider him. He could start from there, but definitely not in top leagues in the world. Definitely. And about his abilities, he's got a lot of height. He's quick, you'll be someone that would like to stay on the wings,
Well, you just talked about his height now. What about in the 6-yard box? I mean, just waiting to knock the balls into the net.
If he's finishing his paw, there's nothing he can do in the box. But if he's quick and if he can just go past players easily,
what about his crossing ability of his paw? Then what's the point?
Then you can probably tell him to cut in, find a cutback or a square play, and that's it. I've not really seen him play, so I don't know where his strength is. In terms of with the ball, but his physical attributes is quick. He's tall, he's got a lot of strength, because of his body build and whatnot. So his footballing abilities is what we are yet to see, because we've heard he's done a couple of trials with some clubs, have not been able to see them anymore. But fortunately for the soccer raid, we'll definitely be seeing him, and he'll be playing against ex-footballers. A lot of top players have played in those competitions in the past. Defoe has played, Alan Shearer, Seedorf, Maradona, Wayne Rooney at some point. So I think he's going to be rubbing shoulders with some top footballers. But those are ex-footballers, but it doesn't still matter. I think if he can hold his own against them, maybe. Just maybe.
Club in Jamaica will sign him. Because the question I was going to ask you is this: when he made the announcement on Twitter page, I know that we should watch out for the club is going to sign for.
I was scared.
Okay, exactly. What was it?
I was wondering which club we want to take the risk of signing an ex.
He's fooled everyone. Let's leave you to Let's talk about proper footballers.
Yes.
Unfortunate news coming in this morning. Neymar has been ruled out for the next couple of weeks. Metatarsal damage, that injury made famous by David Beckham. I think that was before the 2002 World Cup in Japan and Korea. Metatarsal to be a very, very serious injury. He's fractured it and is definitely going to miss the second leg clash against Real Madrid. That's in the UEFA Champions League on Tuesday. That's the man on the screen there. But the good news is the club doctors have confirmed that he should be fit for the end of the season as well as the World Cup. So, lights at the end of the tunnel.
Well, not for PSG, definitely, because without Neymar, I think
they don't have a chance.
They will still win the league on.
Okay.
But without Neymar in the Champions League, it will be extremely difficult. Because even Barcelona, as great as they were, when they struggled last season against PSG, they needed a certain Neymar to come up and deliver the goods, So a club with Neymar is definitely an advantage, is an edge. But without Neymar, actually like PSG that I've seen, I think they would struggle big time. Cavani, he misses goals when you expect him to finish. Mbappe, I think he's not there yet, in terms of depending on him at the big stage. So definitely PSG will be missing Neymar for the Champions League second leg against Real Madrid. And don't forget they're already a goal down from the first leg. So I think it will be extremely difficult for them to overturn the deficit against Real Madrid, who love to play in the Champions League, don't forget. So I think they can stack out their losses already, PSG.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not, there is a certain Angel Di Maria. So you're saying he's not capable replacement for Neymar?
There's this extra swag and extra panache that Neymar brings in, and I think any team would miss that. And they've been too over-reliant and over-dependent on Neymar this season. I've seen a couple of their games, and they tend to just look up to him, and he just tends to have a lot of fun on the pitch. It takes a lot of pressure as well from the other strikers, because when you have like 3-4 players being drawn to you already on the pitch, there's always a huge space and time for other strikers to to execute. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a difficult task for PSG to overturn and the defeat against.
One more Neymar, Toby. One more Neymar. There are few people out there that actually believe this PSG side, now knowing that Neymar is going to be out, they can play better as a team.
Yeah. It's probably the most important game of the season against Real Madrid. Yeah. So it's not about them playing as a team in a couple of games. They need to play as a team against Real Madrid. Yeah. And I don't see that happening. You know, because they need someone to just bring in that extra.
But it wasn't really there when he played the first leg. So I'm like, what's going to be the difference?
That's what I'm saying. You know, when you have those kind of players on the pitch, even if they don't do it in the first leg, who says they can't do it in the second leg?
Okay.
You know, in the first leg against PSG last season, was the last season against when it was at Barcelona.
Right.
You know, they didn't bring it. Even Messi didn't bring it. But in the second leg, it was all turned around. So that's what happens with this kind of special players. You know, they don't have to do it week in, week out, but you keep expecting that they are going to do it. And it also affects the position of the opponent because there's so much attention given to that player. There's so much focus even by the opponent on the pitch. Right. So all that goes away. And then there's certain Di Maria and Mbappe and then Cavani. They become very easy to play against all of a sudden. Unlike a Neymar who brings some kind of trickery and eventually that you don't expect out of nowhere.
Okay, I think his point is very clear.
It's clear.
Neymar, major miss.
Major miss. And you feel they will play better without him, play as a team. Okay. You know what, let's talk about the Champions League now, really. I mean, talking about the fact that UEFA saying they're not going to introduce the VAR for next season. And we've seen a whole lot of people calling for it. Just recently, Conte, because of that Morata, you know, and all that, close call and all, he feels, you know, VAR is the way to go.
Yeah, I think the Champions League is one of the biggest football competitions in the world. We are very fortunate to be seeing it year in, year out. So I think they're just trying to let teams and let leagues get used to the VR before they introduce it to probably one of the biggest European competitions out there. So I think it's the right step. You know, the Premier League also at some point will introduce it.
No rush.
Yeah, they've introduced it in the cup games. So why not in the league at some point? You know, I'm sure other leagues have started using it in their own league. I think the Italian Serie A are using it as well. And it's something that they are working towards. You know, the World Cup as well will be having the VAR.
They'll make decisions.
To me, VAR is probably the fairest and the best technological invention for football because it just brings the fairness into play. Because there's no issue of we lost because of the referee's error, we lost because of the disallowed goal, we lost because of the offside goal, and it just takes all that away.
Toby, I know your thoughts there. We need to go on a break, and when we come back, we continue your discussion on the VAR as well as more issues concerning UEFA.